Morning, everybody. We're continuing the Stanley Parable, and this game is super goofy. Really enjoying it. We've gotten several endings so far, and we're gonna get some more. So I've actually got a flowchart here. So this is on stanleyparable.fandom.com/wiki/endings, and we're gonna kind of go through some of those. But before I actually use the flowchart to figure out some of the endings, let's continue down the paths that we know have some endings that we ended up not taking. So let's do that.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, we'll do the new content door later.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
That's right.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave
Suspicious.
of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
That's new.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay. This is still
Stepping
the
into
same.
his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Too much dead zone on the stick. Like I try and move it a little bit and it's like...
Simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
It was sheer luck.
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Down we go. Okay, so there's a couple of endings here that we can do differently. So one of them, instead of going down the path that we should, I'm going to take the path that says escape, and we'll see what happens there.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read,
Haha.
Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point,
Infinite
Stanley was
hallway.
making a conscious, concerted effort to walk
Nice.
forward and willingly confront his death.
Uh-oh. That looks ominous. What happened?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise,
Ooh,
it
we're gonna become a
reflected that his
pancake.
life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss. like
Okay, so can
plucking
I
the
press this button?
eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body,
Ouch.
killing him instantly.
That would hurt. Psych. Boxes. Okay, so I don't...
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Okay. Sections have been added and altered throughout the development. Okay, so is there anything that I missed? So it's... Okay, so then door on the right, door on the left. Filing cabinets. Yes, you mean tall robots. Can't open any of those. Button sounds. Is there like a code? Credits. Office computers. That's saying... Installing Chart Pro 2.01. They're playing solitaire, it looks like. Oh, I can't turn him back on. Wah, wah. Okay. Boss's office? What's over here? Do I want to know?
Walked over the bridge. And finally, he pushed the number 9. Then he pushed the number 8.
Okay, 698.
Now then, this elevator for sure will get him right back on track to where he was supposed to be in the story.
Huh. This is so random. Interesting. What happened there? Countdown desk? What? Why did it... It went away when I looked at it. No, it's just on a timer. Okay, it's just correlation, not causation. Okay, so I can't press it. There's the exit. What's over here? This is so interesting. It's like a museum for the game and for like different aspects of the game, but it's in the game. This is such a unique game. Can't turn that on. Huh. So it shows the different paths if you obey, disobey. A chair for sitting on. What's gonna happen? Huh. Just resets itself. Okay. So this is Warzone. We designed an ending where Stanley would end up on a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it. It was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Plus, some people interpreted it as making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intention. That's interesting. I was like, I don't recall that ending. Huh, I don't think we made money appear. Okay, let's explore this way. What? The second trailer was sent out, asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially planned to use these further promotional materials, we never found perfect use for them. Here's a selection of those emails. That's interesting. So they incorporated just random emails that they got into this museum. What a neat idea. Okay, so they got different variations of his office. That's what it started as, and this is what it ended as. Huh. One computer, two computer. One computer, more open filing cabinets. Huh. Super cool. What a unique little ending here.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
What if I don't press it? Okay, looks like I gotta press it. Let's find out. Oh, we broke it.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it.
Don't squish
let time
me.
choose for you. Don't let
And we're back. Okay, I'm curious. I want to look at the flowchart here. Where was that? Okay, door choice. We go left. Okay, so there's an ending
All of
here.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Or perhaps I had ignored the memo. Different hallway.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Stanley's very obedient.
Yet
I
there
think that was a
not
different
single
hallway, right?
person here either.
Maybe?
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
So there's something about going in here and then exiting. Let's say executive bathroom. To be rich is a crime. To commit crimes isn't it rich? Life it would be to have to pick just one. Hey. Excuse me, gotta go to the restroom. Can I escape out the window? No. Hmm. Let's say business strategy. What? This is so random. Down or up? Let's try going down. This is quite the elevator ride. Oh, we're back. Let's try going up. Yeah. My favorite song. Okay, so what does orange mean on this thing? It seems like it might be just like an infinite loop. It just keeps going. Until I press the button again. And then it'll stop me and put me in the same spot. Yeah. Okay, but it says there's some kind of another ending by just leaving again. And I can't go out that door. Maybe it's this door that they're talking about.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take.
Santa
He
Claus
fell
up
to
there?
his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's
A
desk.
keypad? What?
What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past, it had been assigned a 4-digit code so devious and so random that no man could ever hope to guess it. 2845. Statistically, nearly impossible to guess blindly, ever.
Okay, so I'm not sure what it means by being able to exit this. Okay, 2,
Stanley
8,
just sat
4,
around
5.
twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Two, 8, 4, 5.
I want to see if the narrator gets upset. I heard something unlock. It made some kind of a sound.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself, and Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
That's funny. Huh, so I don't know how I'm supposed to exit back out that way. Like, the thing was saying too. What about if I press up? I pressed up. I did not press down. Want to recount? Haha!
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
Okay, so can I exit? Dark. I can't see anything. Okay, let's see if we can go through the office door now.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have. An incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow. I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Okay, so I still don't know how to open this door. Let me out. Let me out. Okay. Huh. Let me actually see here. Let me see. Stanley Parable. Okay, so I missed it. I have to enter exit immediately instead of doing what I did. All right. Well, there's another ending we can get here.
Into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this? Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Oop.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Yes.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Huh. Apparently there's a like a loop, kind of like the elevator one, that'll just like bring down a disco ball.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Let's go.
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Wink. What's that say? So far away, I can't. Super clear. Corner as well. Okay, so last time we did this, we did system power off. So let's see what happens when we do on.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After
No.
they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Yes.
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go. Turn the controls off
I'm not Elsa.
and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex.
Nice.
How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story.
Wait.
Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley?
Oh,
That
I'm
this
supposed to
video
press the
game could
correct
be
color?
beaten? One solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
Let's try
Stanley.
just doing this.
You're in for quite a disappointment.
It's hard to aim.
But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every
What?
moment that you're powerless.
Oh, it said
To
the last
see
one was
you
correct.
made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't.
Well,
Take a look at the clock, Stan.
that's bad.
That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
Well, that was rude of him. Why'd he blow it up? That was interesting. Let's see. Hmm. Okay, so
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a
great.
fun and unique place to be?
Yes.
Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Am I sick of this gag? No.
Ah, then in that case, we'll continue.
Yes.
But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different?
No.
Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So,
good
what
point.
do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever. and
That
ever.
one.
Cheers.
We'll just sit here forever. Now I can't press any of them. It's weird that it like allows me to make the clicking sounds when I'm away. Then when I get closer, like one doesn't do it. Like it's non-interactive. Okay. So some of these endings are endings where you're just literally stuck there forever.
All of his
Until you restart.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Let's see what happens when we
Perhaps
say
he had
yes.
simply missed a memo. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Okay.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain. There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly.
Ooh.
But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable, and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. Yes. You too will become quite unbearable.
Well. Is it just gonna loop it now? Let's see if it. Yeah. Okay. So it's just gonna keep looping it. So then we just begin the game again. Okay. That was random. So it looks like there's an ending here.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by?
Oh no.
He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
So you can get an ending just like in a couple of seconds by just closing the door. Yeah, so there's a game called the Stanley Parable. We're just getting a bunch of different endings for it. It says that there's an ending for like typing, but it's like not letting me interact with this keyboard. Let's see. So there's another one. Oh, let's try the alternative one where we go in and out of the boss's room. Let's do that one.
Stanley thought to himself, am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
Okay, so let's
When
go.
Stanley came to a set of two open
here.
doors, he entered the door on his left.
Go through here.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping him coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay, so let me see here. So this one, I need to know when I'm supposed to go through. Quickly enter and leave the boss's office. All doors behind you will be open, including the executive bathroom. Come on.
Stepping.
Okay, so now we go back here. Enter door 428. Okay. Locked. How many endings do I have? Oh, we've got several so far. So 2 days ago we played through this for a couple of hours and got a bunch of different endings. Some of the endings are longer, like 30 minutes. Some of them are like a minute or two. Okay, so what was it, 428? Okay, that's closed. 6. Almost. What? Did I read it wrong? Let's. Will be open right in front of your office. Oh, 428's over there. Numbering is a little weird. Oh, there we go. We're escaping. What? Okay, can't go in there. Gonna take a while. Okay. How long is this gonna take? Is the goal to escape the office? It's kind of hard to explain with this game. The game has like many different stories built into it. Some of them you're trying to figure out what's happening. Some of them it's just you're actively disobeying whatever the narrator says. Like there's so many different variations we've gotten. Escape pod launch bay. This one seems like it's an escape ending, but others like it was a bomb. It's so dark I can't really see. Okay, there we go. What? Huh. That was a weird ending. Okay, let me see here. So... I don't know how I'm supposed to type on here. I can't... It says there's like 4 different endings there for typing. But I don't know how to do that. So I'm gonna skip that one. Okay, so here's another one. The ending is called
Stanley knew the
Space.
office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Nope. Denied.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ooh,
The lounge
looks so
was grand,
cool.
majestic, perhaps too, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Okay.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Millie,
I realize that
is
investing
chilling
your
in the
trust
other
in
room,
someone else can be difficult,
taking a nap.
but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
How do I get over there?
Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Wait.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another...
Ah, okay, I messed up. I already did those 2 endings. I was like, that's not right. We've already seen that. We saw that
All
2
of his
days ago.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Okay, so I gotta jump
Stanley
on the
decided
catwalk.
to go to
That's
the
what I
meeting
messed up
room.
on. Whoops.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Thank you for the reacts. Stanley went in the door on the
came to
left.
a set of 2
Nope.
open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was, the lounge. What a
Admiring.
room, Stanley thought to himself. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nope. Okay,
Stanley was so bad at following
so we're gonna
directions,
jump on
it's
this catwalk,
incredible he wasn't fired years
and then
ago.
we're supposed to go in the door on the red door.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
I have
I'm
TikTok
not
comments
trying
off.
to be
Yeah,
rude.
I turned it off because I was
realize that
getting
investing your
harassment on
trust in someone else
TikTok.
can be
So I've
difficult,
like
but the
disabled
fact
comments
is that the
entirely
story has
because
been about nothing
I was
but
getting
you
reported
all
on
this
TikTok
time.
for what
There's
people
someone
were
you've
saying
been
in the
neglecting,
comment
Stanley.
section,
Someone
and
you've
then the
forgotten
account
about.
got banned for a week. So I was like, well, that's just
I
silly.
was in the middle of something.
Like,
Do you have zero consideration for
people are
others?
leaving horrible
you
comments,
that
and then they
convinced that
report
I
the
want
comment,
something
and then I
bad
get
to
in trouble
happen
for
to
it.
you?
Like,
Why,
what?
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Okay,
Now listen carefully, this is important.
listening.
Stanley walked through the red door.
Yes. All right, so last time we went through the blue door, so we will do the red door this time.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop.
That's funny.
We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution.
Yeah, no, it's all good,
Here,
Roman.
let me
People,
show you.
taking out their pain on other people. I know it's not a reflection of me. It was just more annoying that it was like my account got banned for like literally doing nothing on my end. So it's just like, let's just turn off comments entirely on TikTok, because I don't need that nonsense. Thank you for the sub on YouTube. What?
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
What? It's all blurry. They're converging. What the? It's like a screensaver. This is a random ending. Desktop in sleep mode. Okay, can I like go into the space? Okay, so now we got more lights. Enjoy the laser show. What's this game about? That's genuinely difficult to explain. If you watch the VOD on YouTube from 2 days ago, like it starts off and you're in the office and it just basically says that like you work diligently and one day you show up to work and nobody's there. And so you're exploring the office trying to find where people are at, and then it just kind of like unravels a story with many different endings. This is so random. So this is called the space ending on this like walkthrough that I'm going through, but 2 days ago we didn't use any walkthroughs and we found so many different endings. Like today we found one where you end up in a museum that's about the game. There's an ending that we just got where like everything blows up. There's an ending where you escape and you leave the mind control facility. Like there's just so many random endings. There's an ending where like the narrator basically gets super confused and like refuses to follow the actual story, and it's, I don't know, it's so hard to explain, but it's really interesting.
No.
Who's talking in the...
Where are you going?
No, so the narrator's not the player. Stanley's the player, and the narrator is somebody else.
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Don't worry, I won't hurt
Please,
myself.
no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
What? You got anything else? Don't worry, we'll be okay.
No! Oh,
See, we're fine.
thank God. You live. No. No, no. What are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Sorry, narrator.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
Sure.
Yes. Perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking
The
about.
light show continues.
I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
But what if I do?
No,
Narrator?
perhaps not.
Why am I going so slow now? Speed mode, activate. Now it's super slow.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy.
No,
Am
we're
I
just
reading the
respawning.
situation correctly?
Just respawning, my guy.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore.
I am, it's a good
I
game.
just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
It's so slow. Come on. You can do it. Can I break through here? No. Of course, it sounds like a keyboard. So does this wall.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Back again. Is it on Nintendo? I don't know. This is on PlayStation. And it's also available on PC, but I don't know about if it's on the Switch or not. Okay, so that was called the space ending. So we've got the... So far, we've gotten the reluctant ending, confusion, death, space, choice, games. There's an art ending, but you literally... So 2 days ago when I was playing this, you're like in this game where a baby moves towards a fire, and you're supposed to press a button to prevent the baby from going into the fire. And you have to play that game 4 hours straight, and then it gives you the art ending. And there's no way I'm doing that. So I'm going to ignore that one. We got the work ending. We got the insane ending. We got the escape pod. We got the museum, the bomb, the life. Okay, so now that's all of the endings in the main game. And now we've got the deluxe edition endings. We've gotten a couple of those.
Meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others. So the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
Okay, so... Sorry, trying to see here. There. Okay. So this ending was the sequel ending, apparently. Whatever that means.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
These games must take ages to make. Yeah, there's so many unique endings and pathways, and just the narration alone has a bunch of potential. It's a really cool game, though.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Am I playing another game after this? Not today. So tomorrow will be Fortnite, and then 2 days from now, I'm gonna play a game called Fran Bow or Fran Bow. So this will be the last one for this particular game, the last stream for it. We're just trying to get all the different endings for it. Good morning, Glim. How you doing?
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a
Investor
fully
showcase.
fledged sequel. An entirely new experience,
Taste the sequel.
built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Okay, let me see here. There was something... I can't
Calling
read
it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising.
Color red. Can I play it? No. This is so random.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it.
It's me.
I figure
Two
that if I can
eyes,
loosely
2 ears,
organize a
nostrils,
handful of
arms,
interesting
legs.
concepts, that surely the game will sort of
Who took the red marker?
spring up
Me.
around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Sequels are good. Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman, Divinity Original Sin. These are good games. Aladdin 2, Return to Jafar. I haven't played that one. Dark Souls 2. I played like all the games except for the Aladdin one. This way to the show floor. What if I want to go this way? New features. Okay, good thing they got the rope to help keep that line under control. I want to just sit here.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Sweet. Like what? The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. Hear your name in the game.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want?
Too big,
And
too
of
small,
course,
just right.
The first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
Jim.
Sorry,
You got
I
it
should
right.
have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you
My name's
role
Jim.
play as Jim to really
Jim O'Leary.
simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
I already am.
I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim.
'Kay.
Sleeping and waking as Jim.
Yes.
Falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim. Seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim. And as Jim, watching your dreams
What if your
crumble
name
into
already is
dust.
Jim?
Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now?
Yes.
If so, then please
GYM,
step forward
not
and press the
JIM.
button.
I am Jim.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button
That's right.
described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Okay.
Jim.
Oh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money.
That's right.
Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Jim.
Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away.
Jim.
Otherwise,
No.
soon you'll start to lose all
No.
sense of
Jim.
who you actually
Jim.
are.
Jim.
Ah. They thought of everything. Seriously though, what if your name is Jim and you're like, oh, how did they get that right? Can I press this one? Okay, well let's check out the other new features.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable too. That would actually
No
save me the work of
screenshots.
finishing this feature.
A whole new office. Red is the new orange. The new updated ray traced more of the same but in a good way sequel to the new features, new content, new ideas. Button that says the name of the player. Oh, a jump circle in an infinite hole. A reassurance bucket. Oh, I saw a thing that there's like that gives you alternative endings if you like have a bucket or something. I don't know why or what that means.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
Hey, that's not what I picked.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Well then, if you've made your decision, don't even bother asking. Free, new and easy trophy. I can't believe it's that simple. It just works. Get it here. Okay. Pull the lever. Receive your new trophy. No more steps. Get yours right now.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes, you see, you'll come to this leave. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Well, what if I just keep trying? Can't go in there. Well, that's unfortunate. Trying to get a trophy.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
The jump circle. Ooh.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well.
Sweet.
It's a... Oh, wait.
How many jumps?
You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle.
Aw.
Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
But I want to jump. Collectibles. Can you find them? What the?
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Alright, 1 out of 6. Collect them all.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Okay, that says exit. I don't want to exit. Okay, so we went up there. Infinite hole. This is Sparta. Okay.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game.
Yeah,
This is,
definitely
in
not
fact,
Portal 2.
A hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games is a... You see? Isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
What if I don't want to?
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
Nah. The Evans a tactile. Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
Okay, Stanley.
But
I don't
I
know quite
try and
how to
avoid
say
going
this
on social media, so maybe
but
that's why.
it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What
That's
normal
true.
person
How'd you know?
actually wants to fall infinitely. I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem.
That's probably the case. You're right.
Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean.
Yeah,
Why
I
don't we
regret
just
my
put
choices.
all
I'm
this
sorry.
behind us and agree to just call the whole mostly infinite. If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Okay, well, what if I don't? Are you gonna get upset at me? New mug. Eating it. Why is it in quotations? Sincerely, management. Okay, I'll actually be right back in 1 minute. Okay, so this game is just the wackiness resumes. Keep going. It's supposed to be an articulate pad. Huh. I wonder how it compares to the Off-World with the laminate, the VML on it. What's the price? Is it like cheaper than the Off-World?
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
But what if I go
Oh,
back
for
in?
heaven- You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above.
Every pause button is a Roman numeral 2. Just the two of us We can make it if we try, just the two of us. What? Okay.
Had enough? I'm positively thrilled.
Yep.
I really do have
Definitely
so much
not going back
gosh,
in.
How could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter.
Okay.
Oh, there it is. The shame of... How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh,
No, it's
who
great.
am I to judge?
If I
You
squat,
just
it
do
makes it feel like I'm
whatever it
falling.
is you're here to do, and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the
Not working.
teleport button not working? You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone.
Yeah.
You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley.
Thanks.
I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
The narrator just walked away. Come back. Come back. You think it's around 35 bucks? Oh, that's not bad. Not bad at all. Well, then if it's that price range, I wonder how it compares to like the black side of the real feel. Like, you know how there's like the gum rubber side and then there's the harder side. Oh, it's moving? Yeah. The ring. Deeper we go into the depths. Change my perspective. What? Okay. So dramatic. That's what I look like? Change my perception? What am I perceiving? Not changing anything. Change my reality. What is going on? This game is so random. Change myself? What if I don't want to? Oh, wow. What the? Am I upside down? That would be yes. Okay. Okay, so we've gotten all of them.
Stanley? Stanley?
Help me.
Stanley!
I need help.
Oh, good, you're awake.
Yes.
It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really truly focused on the whole?
That
From the
sounds like
looks
a
of
good
things,
idea.
you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle-pip.
Okay. That was
Here we
so
are.
random.
Go on, try out some of the new features.
Stanley Parable reassurance bucket. Office decorations. We already did the decorations one. We did the collectible. Let's see what the
Common
bucket is.
complaint
What's
of the
that?
Stanley Parable was
Bucket.
that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body.
I'm
And in
so
fact,
reassured now.
Can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well?
It
I think
does.
that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person.
Yes.
The benefits of the bucket seem to go
My
on
wife
and
can
on,
tell
don't
in the
they?
other room that I'm holding a
All
bucket.
this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2. Does anyone give
Oh,
an
that's
award
funny. It
for
changed so it
most
says the button that
enjoyable
says Jim.
bucket in a video game? That really
That's
should
good.
be an award if it isn't already.
Good, good, good. Okay. So we've done that. We did that. We did that. There's the exit. We already looked at the merch. Went in there. Did that. Wait, how do I get up there? Is that the exit? Says that's new. Oh, up here. Settings, world champion. And that's new. Let's see what the settings is. Why is that green and red? That's weird. Huh. Can't open that. What's in here? Epilogue.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
That's funny, because there's so many different endings. Okay, I think I've successfully explored all of this area. Let's see what the exit is. Okay, so there's a... the flowchart says... Wait. Test achievement? After the epilogue? Let me see if this works now. I'm looking at the... No. Okay. It's also saying... Bring the bucket to the bucket room. And then that'll do something. Bucket room, infinite hole. Okay, so it's back here. Bucket is now enabled. So if I put this back on here, I think it gives me an alternative ending. None of the buttons seem to cause me to drop it. Oh, maybe it's when you do like another playthrough, then it'll trigger that. So now when you start, apparently you'll start with a bucket, and it slightly changes like some of the endings. Apparently. Okay, so exit. Did we do everything? Office decorations, settings, free trophy, this map. Okay.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to?
I
Ready
have.
to move on now?
Oh, somebody left their satchel. Interesting artwork. No screenshots.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment.
Okay.
I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Infinite hole that you can jump in
Okay.
repeatedly
Are
with a
you
bucket.
ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Dun, dun, dun. Jumps remaining 36. There's the trophy. There's the decorations.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind.
Infinite
Hold
hole,
on.
2
Let
doors.
me do a different arrangement.
There's the bucket. That's
Okay,
funny.
Yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
A little bit
Who am I
better.
kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect.
Like
with
jumping.
care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Wow. Totally worth it. Can't believe they already released a second game. Begin. Now I think I start with a bucket.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley
Okay, so we've already seen that. It's got the decorations now.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Where's the bucket,
No
though?
matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
There's the bucket.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Okay. So let's see if there's anything we want to do with this. What if you get all of the figures? Okay, so figurines ending. Hmm. Okay, so sequel ending we got. Skip button we got. We don't have the mobile version, so we can't do that one. Bucket endings. After completing the sequel and activating Stanley Parable 2, the bucket will be permanently added. Causes multiple changes in the game, specifically the outcomes of whatever ending you choose. Sometimes it's no more than additional dialogue, but other times it can change the ending completely. Okay, so... Yeah, so a lot of these change. See, do any of these sound interesting? What? A kill bucket? What does that mean?
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear. We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self. The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein. Of sadness
All the
and
endings are
regret,
different.
and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have
Huh,
taken
that's cool.
to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger. Of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley. "What are you talking about?" he screamed. "You're a bucket!" To this, the bucket furrowed its brow. "No," said the bucket. "Not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of—" "No!" Stanley screamed even louder this time. "This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this?" As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like...
This game is so wacky.
My God,
What the?
Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket.
Yes.
Thank God you already had all 12
Death to
emblems
buckets.
of sages and knew the
paint
incantations to
bucket.
summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
This is so random. This game is great. You're enjoying the Carters, but you can't imagine a ping shot with them. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, I had for concert snare I used piccolo tip
All of his
snares
co-workers
sticks,
were gone. What could it mean?
and
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
the student
Perhaps he
like
had simply
borrowed
missed a
them
memo.
and snapped them because they did a rim shot with it. I was like, yeah, they're not supposed to be used on rim shots, and now they're broken. No.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave
Okay,
of
so let's see
comfort
here.
rushed over him.
Okay, so that was the kill bucket ending. So there's a bunch of figurines to get. The image is like so small that like when you zoom in on it, it's like it's hard to read it because it's just like pixelated text. Can't read it. Let me see if I can find a better image of this. Like there's a bunch of different endings here. Let's see. If I do... Nope, not that. Okay, if I go this way... Wait.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room?
Yes.
Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps
Much.
it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, I did not. Okay, so if I go... this way?
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Well, from here, it looks like the only way forward is down, since the lift won't be coming back, but that's okay. But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Uh-huh. All right, let's see. So there's
All of his
another one.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Bucket.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the
You do
meeting
the
room.
figurine ending last?
Stanley had
Okay.
felt the bucket calling to him. telling
Yeah, I
him
think I
that
might
the
try and get
employee
more
lounge
endings and
was
play
simply
and
the
do
place
another
to
stream
be.
2 days from now.
And here it was.
Get these
Had
bucket
the bucket
endings.
turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left. To
No,
go
I did
back
not.
To the meeting room,
I went straight.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, good,
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the
Wait.
top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him.
How am I supposed to get
It
to
should have
that?
alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly
there's a
convinced that the
door.
bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Let's see. Huh. Yeah, I haven't switched sticks in years. I haven't even tried the Jeff Queen
In
ones.
here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Of course I did. But yeah, I like the Hardeman hammers because like they're just specifically designed for chopping out. But I don't know, maybe there's some others that are also good for that.
Now pick up the phone. said the bucket. Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together. Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket. Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look. What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies?
Good question.
And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds?
Yes.
Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time.
J-I-M.
With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm Dunny with the funny.
Good. This
Thank
saying
you.
is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, with each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence, and who very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles, all of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
What are we playing, Helldivers now?
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
What if I don't want to? Can't close it. This is so random.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery.
So
You'll
it's
be in
gone.
stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How
The figurines.
ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we have the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure.
The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke.
Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
Glim, I like your idea of switching up sticks, just trying out some new stuff. That's a good idea. But yeah, I definitely remember having to tape the sticks so they're like extra heavy, but then it would like make it so the stick was like thicker, or if you didn't do that, then it'd be weighted towards the front. Like it made it difficult to chop out.
You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
No, they did not.
What? We're back at the phone already? No, what's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land, or not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the 2 doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again.
Yeah, let's.
Yes, surely that will help me improve my... Here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Yes, I did.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already?
He's just gonna keep looping this.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open
We'll
doors,
go left.
they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done.
I'm sorry.
Over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
This is the wackiest game I've played in quite some time. We've played a lot of wacky games. Yeah, Glim, that's one of the problems is like sometimes it'll be like a completely mismatched pair where the sticks are just like a completely different pitch or feel when you like order stuff online.
The office layout like the back of his hand.
It's frustrating when you get just like a bad pair like that.
Wherever they were. Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Okay, so now this time instead of unplugging the phone, I'm gonna answer the phone. We'll see how that ending changes.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him. telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there.
Okay, let me get
go
this.
to the cargo lift.
Before I forget about it.
You found one of them. One of the
Yeah.
miniature Stanley figurines.
2 out of
Remember,
6.
No reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Okay. Now where does this go? What?
Okay, this is day number 295, tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms.
What is going on?
Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get me. What's that? Who's there? Caporata.
What is going on? That was random. Okay, so let's try the phone ending with the
What could it
bucket.
mean? Stanley decided
Glenn,
to go to the meeting
it
room.
sounds like
Perhaps he had
the
simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the
the
bucket
sticks
and
might have like a microfracture.
alone again,
Like
not
whenever that happens, it's
Not
like
the
broken
bucket.
somewhere. Like where it just feels
Stanley
weird like
clutched
that.
the bucket tightly
That'd
to
be
his
my
chest. This
guess.
was not the correct
It's like
place for
something
the meeting room.
along the
Stanley
stick
had felt
is
the bucket calling
broken.
to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place
That would
to
happen
be.
a lot with
And
one
here
of the
it
stick
was.
brands
Had the bucket
that
turned
we
out to be
used
correct?
in
No,
Academy.
never mind.
They weren't as good
The
as
bucket
other
was
stick
wrong.
brands. I'll just kind of leave them
Stanley
vague
took the
like
door on
that.
his left
And
to
so
go back to
we'd
the
use
meeting
them, and sometimes I'd wrap a fresh pair of sticks and it'd break
No,
immediately, or
said
just
the
start
bucket.
playing on it and it like
Don't
felt
go to the
rad,
meeting
and it had like a
room. Go
micro
somewhere
fracture in
else.
it
The
that
cargo
eventually
lift,
expanded.
yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about
Do
this
we
obvious
know
fact.
buckets
He
can't
was firmly
talk?
convinced that the
Or are
bucket
the
had
buckets
spoken
just
to him,
choosing
and
to
he
not talk?
unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Wee.
In here,
Said the bucket.
go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone,
Said the bucket.
pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Is the wife gonna have a bucket on her head?
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Okay, let's go to work.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing
You
the
sure?
bucket say to him is just in his head.
Are you sure? Go back home. Come on, bucket.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Back to work we go.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley,
Yes?
can you hear me?
Nope.
Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think. It can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location.
Why not a
That's
solid?
It doesn't do anything else.
How do you know? Don't listen to the loud man.
You see, he's not listening.
Hey, Glim, I hope
He's
you have a good
still
one.
taking
Thanks for stopping
orders
in.
From the bucket. You know, once upon
Have
a
a good
time,
lunch.
it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Press down to ignore anyone in your life except for me.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? Yes.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Are you trying to tell me that I should use the bucket? Leave the same day with me, over and over.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket? Oh no. I'm having feelings. For the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me.
No.
Give me the bucket, Stanley.
It's my bucket.
I need it. Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
It's my bucket. Don't take it. Go back to work? I don't want to. That was such a weird ending. Oh. It's a bit messy in here.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Okay, so there's an ending here that you get if you do this? Let's
When
try
Stanley
this.
came to a set of 2 open doors,
Yeah.
this was not the correct
So I'm
way
gonna
to
go
the
on that
meeting room,
that
and
platform,
Stanley knew it perfectly well.
and
Perhaps he wanted
then
to stop by
wait
the employee lounge first,
a moment, and then
just
jump
to
off.
admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform, or test your luck by jumping to the floor below. You know what? Looking at it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make it.
Here we go.
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
Ah. Okay, so now we're gonna try that with the bucket and see how the ending is different.
All
They
of his co-workers
cleaned up
were
the
gone.
floors a little
What
bit.
did it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yeah.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Well, from here, it looks like the only way forward is down, since the lift won't be coming back, but that's okay. You've got a bucket. Did you know that buckets are routinely used as cushioning devices? It's true.
Sweet.
You can fall on a bucket from literally any height and survive.
As long as it has water in it, right? Minecraft style. Let's try our
I'm
luck.
serious, Stanley. Jump. Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
Okay, so that ending was only slightly different compared to some of these other ones that are very different. Oh, I spoke too soon.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Whiteboard ending? What? Hold on a second. Blue office. Open door. Dog mode? Now when you click on stuff, it makes barking sounds. What?
Where are we going today? Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief in the magic of the bucket.
Okay. Okay. So I'm curious here. Let's see. We did that. We did that. Okay.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
All right, we
And
did
here
that.
it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no.
Okay.
Never mind.
This one's called
Bucket was
Quiz
wrong.
Show.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yeah. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
But did I? Okay, it's like a tether ball. Full.
No, stop. Look there on the wall.
No
You see,
buckets?
there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless... What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket?
That's a
I
good
suppose
point.
That would explain a lot about your behavior up
I
to
thought this was a
point,
coffee
which,
mug.
If that's true, well, my goodness. I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
But what if I want to go in here,
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything
yes
we'll
or
ever
no?
need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket,
That's right.
not an actual bucket.
Of course we knew that one. Too obvious. This a
Item
bucket?
2.
Yes.
Is this a bucket? Incorrect.
What?
It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual
They
bucket.
lied to me.
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Correct. This is a bucket.
Look at me. I'm a pro. Pro gamer. I can identify buckets.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Yes. What? That's
Are you
clearly a bucket.
hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely
sorry. Stop yelling at me.
incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
Okay. Why are you so angry?
Is this a bucket?
No.
Incorrect.
Oh no.
This is a bucket.
I was fooled.
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
It's non-binary.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
I'm holding it. Yes.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here.
I'm
And
holding
I don't
it.
appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing?
Yes.
Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
I changed my mind.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
Yes.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this.
You're a
I'm
bucket.
losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
No.
Okay, here we go.
But I like buckets.
What
That's
happened?
so
Is
rude.
everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket?
Yes,
Every
obviously.
single thing in the game was a bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley,
Are you
you're
sure?
still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
This game is so random. Huh. So it's different. Again.
A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Okay, so... trying to see here. If we go that way... and then
This
here.
was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Denied. Okay, so this ending's called Destroy Bucket, which might make me cry.
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line?
Can I put it on your head?
The Adventure Line go
like
somewhere
Skyrim?
new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
I want to put the bucket on her head. Be like Skyrim. Then I can steal all of her wares. Missed opportunity.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Our music is muted. Nothing behind the door.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
What?
It's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Not the bucket. Anything but the bucket.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We
No.
need to get rid of the bucket.
No.
That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
No.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore
I
of
don't
the
want
Stanley
to.
Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can
No.
you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
I'm not ready. I can't quit you.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait.
Oh.
Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality
What if
trait
I
deserve
don't?
to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Uh-oh. I didn't do a good job of listening.
The Bucket Destroyer. My prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
That's right. So what happens if I destroy the bucket? Well, now I gotta find out.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
You're welcome. Good chat. That was random. Okay, so bucket.
Ah, the embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly
Okay,
to
so
his
go
chest.
this way.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
It did not.
Stanley took the door on his left to go, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Okay, so let's go this way. Again, and let's see what happens when you destroy the bucket.
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley.
Open.
We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the... Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows
This
where
must have been
it'll go
such a
off to
fun
next.
job as
Oh,
a narrator.
I played some silly
Like
music
to
as
do the
well.
voice acting for this. Just so goofy. Very quirky.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this.
Okay, Bucket, I'm
But
sorry.
if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something. Don't you get it,
I
Stanley?
have to.
We need to get rid of the bucket.
We have to see the other
That's why
endings.
I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This
What if I throw the
is
narrator
Bucket
in there?
Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me, it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you.
Please do, actually.
Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket.
Goodbye,
And then
bucket.
pop it into the machine when you're ready.
Goodbye, bucket. What?
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the bucket destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows.
It won't let me
That
destroy
is
it.
its
So it's the
singular
same ending?
personality
Huh.
trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the bucket destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so...
Okay, so that's why it said that it had only one ending for the bucket destroyer. Interesting. Huh. All right. So it's interesting, like you were saying, how much the game just like, it's like twice the amount of content, almost, for all of these. So there's that. Let's see, how many endings are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more endings to do. Oh, there's also one over there that we haven't done. Interesting. Okay, so there's also 4 more figurines to get, and then there's the epilogue after that. Collect all 6 of them, restart at least 5 times, unlock the bucket. Alright, so I'm gonna continue to play this. I thought I was gonna finish this today, but considering like how many more different endings there are, we'll continue to play it 2 days from now. So tomorrow we'll do some Fortnite, trying to get some more wins. Yesterday we got 4 wins out of 6 games that we played, so not bad, not bad. And then I most likely will finish this game 2 days from now, but who knows? Maybe there's even more content. Maybe it's longer than I realized. Yeah, sorry, just looking through it real quick. Interesting flowchart. It's helpful to be able to see. I can't pull it up on the screen, but like there's like so many different paths to go on and whatnot. Very cool game. Really enjoying this. But I'm gonna call it here. So tomorrow we'll be back. I should be gaming unless like I wake up and I'm like sick or something. But hopefully that doesn't happen. Anyways, I do appreciate people stopping by and the suggestions and whatnot while playing through the game. But I will be back on tomorrow. So hope you have a good rest of your day and goodbye.